So we've got a question about dobbing, the in-play betting strategy. Let's cover a few pointers. Okay, so straight away we can see from the question there you've come from a back to lay angle into dobbing. I don't think that's an unusual route to take, although there is a little bit of a problem with that, which I'll explain in a second. First of all, for anyone that's just come into this video doesn't understand what dobbing is, dob stands for double or bust, meaning you back a horse at the start of the race, you lay it off at half its price, hopefully or potentially, doubling your stake. If that doesn't work, you obviously lose, and you lose your stake, going bust. So you double or bust, quite simple. So, double or bust, coming from a back to lay angle. First of all, it's worth saying the two disciplines are very different. If you're approaching one, it's best just to sort of erase your mind on the other almost before approaching it, and it's not worth treating them as though they're the same. The reason for that being is double or bust is more statistics based, it's based on characteristics of a horse within a race, which then affects the price, meaning obviously it drastically shortens. A lot of the time that will come from the way the horse behaves and the characteristics it exhibits while it's within the race, i.e. outperforming the market, looking as though it's a lot more confident, a lot more likely to be in the finish for the race than it actually is. Some horses do this regularly, and the behaviour shows through the jockeys as well, because they don't feel as though they need to rouse the horse on when actually the horse is not quite as good a thing as it may seem initially. Whereas with back into lay, we're just looking for horses that are going to start the race, get a break and a lead of the field, obviously bringing the price in the process, making sure that you can seal in an early profit. So one's more of an early profit thing with a lead, and the other thing is an overall, how will the horse perform in terms of the whole market, looking as though it will be in with a good chance, therefore bringing in the price. So they're very similar in the sense that they're both in play, but they are very different for those reasons as well. Pointers to remember with both of these, and particularly with the dobbing more than anything, is you've got a horse race here, right? And it's not just about the horse that you're selecting. Everyone would love it to be about the horse you're selecting, but unfortunately it's not. There's other horses within a race. If you've got one selection that's actually a good dob proposition, but it's in a 10-horse race, and the other 9 horses are also dob propositions, you know, the market can't have every horse halving in price. So it makes it harder, is what I'm trying to say, if you've got other horses that are likely to behave in the same way. As with any kind of trading, we want a clear-cut opportunity. We want one where it's an unfair advantage, where there's only one that's really going to do this and the others, you know, potentially going to not look great in the race, even if the horse doesn't win. And so you want a clear-cut decision to make. Secondly, you're going to want the behaviour to be confirmed, so you want it to be repetitive behaviour. The situation may change if you've got, you know, the horse is the same horse, and in the past it's previously dobbed several times, although it's now running over a very different distance with a very different jockey at a very different track. That's likely to impact things, and that may put you off making your decision, depending on what's happening within that race. I noticed you've mentioned the 25 or 50% option there. I can only assume that comes from having used sites like Pattern Form, where on some of the dobbing cards and the different cards that they've got available on them sites, it shows you whether a horse is dobbed at 25% or 50% in the past, which may be an angle you want to take. But as I keep saying with all of these different things and different questions, opportunity is not created equal, and therefore you can't expect to just say I'm gonna take a flat 25% dob on everything I choose, because not everything is a 25% opportunity. It may be a case of some horses are known for dobbing at 50%, others are known for dobbing at 25%, in which case you want to adapt your approach and dobbing strategy or angle to that before you actually even get stuck into the detail of what we're trying to do here, because there's no point just saying I've got a one size fits all, because that's not what happens with opportunity. Finally, with dobbing, you want to make sure that whatever sites you're using to groom your data, you want to check that it's actually correct, because I have noticed myself at times in the past, and you'll see that sometimes the dobs get put up on Twitter, but if you borrow into the actual horse's previous form and go on somewhere like Timeform, which lists the in-play lows of a horse within the races in the past, that you get slightly different measurements or results, shall we say, in different places. So make sure that what you're looking at is confirmed from different sources, as well as actually, you know, what you're visually seeing in the sense of what race a horse is in and all them kind of characteristics as well. On top of that, the usual generic advice in the sense of keeping your stakes low, avoiding the very short prices. Obviously, to find a short price runner that's going to half in price is harder to find than you're going to get a large price runner that's going to half in price, because of the leverage within the market and the different pricing. The more you stake up, the harder it always becomes to get your stakes out. So keeping them low it's a great place to start from, keeping them low as well. I mean, what's the point in blowing any more money than you need to? You start doing more too soon, or start doing too short a prices, then you're just back to gambling, and that's not why we're here. I mean, dobbing is technically a betting strategy, although, you know, it depends on opinion. You could say it's a trading strategy as well, because you're trading out on the other end of the bet. So quick roundup on this then. Dobbing, pick your opportunities carefully. Make sure that you're only going for the very best ones. Try to avoid markets that aren't particularly liquid. Keep the stakes low, usual kind of stuff. Avoid short prices, and make sure that you are looking at it and coming at it from the angle of you're looking at it more statistically, how the horse has behaved in the past and its actual running characteristics, rather than, you know, is it a leader and then treating it as though it's a dob, because they're two different things. One good dob opportunity each day is far better than having 3 rubbish ones, because obviously, you know, you're going to burn your stakes on the others. It's keeping your powder dry, as they say, or making sure that you're minimising those losses and risk on top of dragging in any potential profits. So question for you guys before I go then: if you were to use a dobbing strategy or a back to lay strategy, what would be your preferable approach for in-play trading based on your own experiences?